So today is the warmest day that we've had all winter. Probably won't have another day like this for at least 4 or 5 more weeks. It's a high of 61 degrees Fahrenheit today. It is a beautiful day. Feels amazing, feels like spring. And I'm gonna try to get as much done as I can outside. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna focus on the livestock, and then we're gonna work on the firewood shed, splitting firewood after that. Come on. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Tyrone, you gotta get up, buddy. You gotta get up. Okay. You scratch behind your ears. Let me rub your ears. Yeah. Rebecca likes rubbing on their ears. Maya's drooling on you. Come on. Let's go out of the field so that I can bring you some silage. Even the bull's too friendly to move. We're gonna go with plan B. So right now, our forecast has the daily high temperature above freezing for the next 10 days. So I'm gonna go ahead and start feeding out silage bales again. I haven't fed them out for probably a month and a half, 2 months now. So I need to get this feeder cleaned out first of all. It's got a ton of wasted silage in here from several previous bales, and I just need to get this all cleaned up and put on the compost pile. So this is sorghum Sudan silage, and I first started making this, I made some fairly small bales as a test run, and this is one of those. I think I've got like 3 of these left to feed out, and then the rest of the bales are a little bigger. And I've got all of this cleaned up from all the stuff that they wasted. I still got a little bit here on the ground, but the majority of it's cleaned up. Looks a lot better. So now that I'm done in here, I'll head back over there. I'll open the green gate back up. We'll let the cattle out so they can eat this silage. Well, I think I just woke them up from the midday nap. They were all laying down until I opened that gate up. Come on, Maya. Moo cow. Come on, Maya. Moo cow. Come on. Maya, I think I could walk like you. I just gotta bob my head. Just like you. Yeah. So I know one of the comments that I'm going to get is the amount of waste that's produced by the cows eating this silage, and I'm going to chalk that up to 3 different factors. One's going to be the style of feeder I'm using. It's a cradle feeder, so much of that's just going to fall out on the ground. They're going to step on it, and it's just not going to get ate. The other is this silage that I had made. First time making it, it was very mature. It's very stemmy. So it's probably not quite as palatable as a younger sorghum Sudan plant would have been. And then I think the other thing is that I don't have enough cattle to eat it quick enough, because once it hits 3 to 5 days, somewhere in there, they start eating it less, and then somewhere after, I think around 7, they just don't touch it at all after that. It kind of loses its fermentation, goes bad, something. It's got a lifespan. You have to eat it quick enough. So I think that's the 3 reasons why we have quite a bit of waste with the silage. So we'll try to do things maybe a little bit differently to see if we can minimize that. I think the next bale, I'm actually going to put in the round bale feeder, like a hay ring. I'm going to try it in that and see how that does. And then as we get more cattle, of course, we'll be able to eat this a lot quicker. And when I make more bales this next year, I'll try to cut it when it's a lot younger, and it'll end up being a better silage when we're done. So my plan for this summer is to plant 2 acres up here next to the white pole barn in sorghum Sudan grass, bale it as silage, hopefully get multiple cuts off of it, and it should be a good location for it, because I've got these large gates right here at the white pole barn where I can just drive my equipment through here, cut and bale the hay, and it should work out fairly well. Now there's a total of 6 acres up here in the front. The other 4 acres down that direction, I'm going to plant that in perennial pasture, just like we did this 6 acres over here. So we'll end up with a total of 10 acres in perennial pasture, and then we'll have 2 acres right here that can be a seasonal mix. So we could plant sorghum Sudan in the summer, and then in the winter we could do maybe some kind of cool season crop in the winter. We could just use it we could kind of experiment with it, see what works and what doesn't. So first thing this morning, I put the second coat of primer on the Allis Chalmers rims. So both sides been painted now. So I'm still on track to start putting the back half of the Allis Chalmers back together this weekend. So now I'm gonna head out to the firewood shed, see if we can at least get the majority of the stuff that's already cut into rounds, see if we can get that split up and put into totes. All right, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the opening in this tote wider, so it's easier to get in inside. So after cutting these off, these edges are fairly sharp and jagged. They'll cut your clothes, might cut you. So we use a wire wheel, go over this real good, soften up all the edges. right, definitely a lot bigger opening to be able to stack the wood inside. And we've got these edges softened. They don't snag on anything, so all good to go. It's almost t-shirt weather out here. I think when I get working, I'll end up getting a little too hot in just this sweatshirt today. So what I'm going to be splitting is this whole row of firewood. It's all cut up and ready to split. So here's looking at from the other side. This section right here has fallen over. It's hard to see. It's all like down here in the grass, and then the stack continues on. It's about a 30-foot long stack. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to get that all split today, but I'm at least going to give it a shot. Oh, I left the gas on. Well, that was the easiest that log splitter has ever started. I was just pulling on the cord just to kind of exercise everything. I wasn't actually meaning to start it, and it started right up. All right, I got this tote filled all the way up now. So what I started splitting was walnut. I don't know if you can see like the dark color in the middle, but that's what that is. And this stuff's starting to go rotten. I mean, I think the center's still good. It's just all the bark is starting to get fungus on it. The bark's all like peeling off. And there's just there's a bunch of trash that's coming off of this wood. So I keep wiping all the trash off of the splitting deck. And I've been putting that over here in a pile on the ground. And this is all the trash from just the small amount we split. So it looks like it's gonna be kind of messy splitting wood today, but I need to go ahead back, get the tractor. We need to remove this tote and get us an empty one over here. Not enough room to fit in between. Shut the log splitter off for a couple minutes just to have some peace and quiet, I guess. You wear earmuffs for an hour or two, it starts getting, or it don't feel very good. So a lot of that bark is really pretty wet, so I don't know if it'll continue to burn or not. We'll just have to wait and see. The diesel will burn, but the fire may just end up going out if it's too wet. Stuff around here just fires just don't light very easily around here, let's put it that way. I know a lot of people, they were worried about the other day when I had this fire going. They thought that maybe that it would spread, and that the fire would spread and go over here and catch this big pile of logs on fire. Well, it'd have to be like really hot drought summertime for that to happen. In the wintertime around here, everything is usually, well, it's just like mud. Everything's just constantly wet and saturated through the wintertime, so there's no real problem, or there's no real chance of anything catching fire. Like the ground, let me just specify, like the ground, it's not gonna really spread. The ground's just too wet and saturated. So since it's been above freezing, like the last week, at least the highs have been above freezing, the ground has thawed out pretty well. Now it's just muddy around here. So now I'm tracking everything up with the tractor. And when I moved this tote of firewood earlier, I don't know if you can see it, there's tractor tracks right there where I went to pick it up. And then there's tractor tracks here where I went and sat it down. And these are probably 6 inches deep, ruts in the ground. And of course that's expected, you know, this time of year. But when I rebuild this firewood shed, I'm gonna have to change a few things, right? I'm gonna have to have some gravel and some road base, you know, something here so that I can drive in and out of the firewood shed without rutting things up. So I'm definitely gonna have to like take this driveway, the gravel driveway, and extend it over to the front of this firewood shed when we finally rebuild it. So it's after 4:30 in the evening now. You can tell the sunlight's coming in directly at me. The sun's getting lower on the horizon, so I think I'll go ahead and just stop splitting firewood. But if we look over here, this tote, it's almost full. In fact, if I would have just got these last logs right here split, I probably would have had this almost filled up. And this stack of logs started right here, and we are about halfway through this stack of logs. We got to the part where it has all fallen over. And this over here, I haven't had as much trash and bark falling off of it. And I think the reason why is because right here I had this roof. this is just, I put this wood in the wrong place. So all the water off this roof came down and all the bark was soft right here, but then you can see where that roof ends. All of this is actually in better condition, and the bark isn't falling off. It's not full of like fungus and starting to rot. So I didn't pick probably the best location when I stacked all this firewood. I think I actually started stacking it on that end, and it just kept on getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it finally reached all the way down to here. And this was all trees that was growing up against this firewood shed. There's a video, I can probably put a link to it. But there was probably like 9 trees growing up against the back of this. And I think we rented a man lift, and we also got on the roof and helped cut some of them down. And that's where all this wood came from. So when I initially stacked this firewood, I put some old corrugated roofing down here. It's probably some off the firewood shed that blew off. And this is all sitting on that metal. So it's a little bit more protected from the ground. And of course, most of the stuff I split today was just basically right here on top of the ground, right on the dirt. I guess what I'm trying to say, long story short, I think the rest of this wood, well, maybe not all of it, some of it fell over, but I think this is actually gonna split up a little bit cleaner when I do it. So just a quick look at the firewood inventory. This is what we split here recently. This is what we're burning right now. These two right here are hickory and it's seasoned. And then this tote right here, this is kind of my trash tote. It's like half rotten wood, wood that doesn't split real good, odd shapes. I'm kind of throwing that trashy wood in here. And I figure that wood, won't burn it in the house. I'll probably just take it in the workshop and I'll burn it in there. So behind the firewood shed, I have this pile of logs. This is all intended to be firewood. And you can see it's as tall as the back of the shed. So this is probably at least 8 feet tall. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get this all split up before we tear down the firewood shed and start to rebuild it. What probably will more than likely happen is I'll probably just move it. I mean, I can probably move it faster with the tractor than I can split it up. So we'll wait and see. I don't know if I'm going to tackle that or not, but it is going to have to get out of the way because when we rebuild this firewood shed, I suspect it's going to come back another 10 feet somewhere back in here. And 2 reasons for that. One, it's going to get bigger, but the other reason is I don't have enough room on the driveway to really do a 90-degree turn and turn into the firewood shed. So it actually needs to be set back farther from the driveway. So the whole shed needs to move that direction. Plus, I think I'm going to end up just making it bigger, deeper as well. So everything takes time. I really want to get this done. I really want to tear it down, rebuild it. It's just everything takes time. It just can't happen overnight. Well, I think all the diesel has burned off now. And we got a little bit of fire. Not too much. Mostly just smoking. We'll wait and see what happens. I thought I'd give it a shot because it is going to rain tomorrow. So I thought this was the best time to try to burn it, or else I'm going to have to wait another week or 2. So ever since I put out that silage bale today, the cattle have stayed right here. So they're either eating that bale or they're laying down here beside it chewing their cud. But yeah, they have hardly left its side. You know, they have hardly walked away from the silage bale. It's definitely, when it's fresh, the first few days, they love it. It's definitely one of their favorite things to eat. But Ellie, how are you doing? You're standing still, letting me scratch on you, aren't you? Yeah. She's usually a little bit not as friendly as Maya. Of course, Maya's too friendly most of the time. But anyway, man, it's a beautiful day. I don't think we could ask for much better. Too bad it's gonna be all rainy tomorrow. It'll be completely an inside day tomorrow. But today was a good day to be outside. But I think that's gonna be it for this video, guys. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Maya, don't be a bully. Maya, you're always pushy. Be good. He's little.